Hello, friends. Um, Happy Valentimes. We made it to this place, which is a Thursday. So, happy Thursday too. Um, it's February 14 and it's almost 3 o'clock. I've had a lot of things going on today. Not the least of which is that it's gorgeous in Dallas today. It's 75 and sunny. Mostly sunny, I would say. And although I've got on my red today that I put on because of Valentine's, to teach my class this morning, the color today is green. We are still in the second quarter of the moon cycle. We are, it's our second day in Gemini, and the color is green. So I connect really, I love that the color is green today because the color green is the color of your heart chakra. And you can believe in chakras or not believe in chakras, but a chakra is an energy center in your body. That's basically all it is. And chakras, we have, of our basic chakras, we have 7. And there are 3 above the heart chakra and 3 below the heart chakra. The chakras correspond to the colors of the rainbow, and the green one, like I said, is right in the center. And it's not unsurprisingly, or not surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, sorry, double negatives, just above your heart. Bella wants to say hello. See, when I start talking about my heart, Bella shows up because she knows that's where she lives. So anyway, so your heart chakra is just above your heart, and normally when we talk about chakras, it is like in a line kind of down our spine. People think of, oh my gosh, I have a leaf in my hair. I spent some time outside. I have a leaf in my hair. All right. This is part of my green today. This is a brown leaf, but I spent some time in nature today, which is very green colored. And here's proof. It's in my hair. Okay. Heart chakra. Yes. So it is the color green, and it is in your your chest center, just off to the left. But most commonly, the chakras that are in your torso fall a little bit deeper than that, towards the back. So when we think of them, you can think of them in this general area, but definitely more on the inside of you, towards your spine. The heart chakra, I found very interesting when I was looking up the heart chakra. In Sanskrit, the heart chakra is called Anahata, And Anahata means unbroken, or unhurt, or unstruck, which is quite interesting to me because I find that our hearts take a lot of beating, don't they? For a chakra to be called, like the name of it, to be called unbeaten, means to me that the brokenness that we feel in our hearts, being heartbroken, affects us in a very real and energy shortage kind of way, which I don't have to tell you. We've all been heartbroken, and it is the worst. Being heartbroken is just the worst. And the idea that your heart chakra, that the Anahata, the word for your heart chakra, would be something that is so unlike what we know our hearts to be on a daily basis, is at once confusing and elating to me. And here's why. Well, the confusion just comes when you first hear it, because you say, okay, well, my unbroken heart chakra has been broken, right? My energy, the energy that is my heart energy, we have all felt shatter. And it's very real. It's a very real feeling. And you can feel it on a daily basis in small ways, right? When we talk about having a broken heart, that is the feeling that that's where we feel it, is right there. You can also feel it lower. I've had a broken heart or broken hearts that have settled so much lower, to the point where you feel a void even in they say the pit of your stomach, right? And so it can definitely like travel if the blockage is so big and that energy gets so stuck. It can definitely affect the energy that flows through you, right? Because if there's a blockage like right here, your energy isn't going to move. And so it is elating to me because as much as our hearts break, and as much as that's a natural process for us, for our hearts to break, the fact that our hearts and our heart energy is not intended to be in a broken state gives me pause and hope. I appreciate that when my heart breaks, that, like, as I said, it's natural. And then also that when my heart breaks, even when it's broken, it's not broken. And the reason why I say that is perhaps when we feel our heart break, it's our natural state. Perhaps a heartbroken state is unbroken. I know that's it's hard to wrap our heads around. I don't know if that's true. I know that if I try really, really hard to not love, which I've done in the past, I think we all have, to give up love so that we don't get hurt, that blocks your heart flow energy. And so the only way to love and to have an open heart is to love. And that means that we get heartbroken. And so that leads me to believe that a truly unbroken, never broken heart isn't functioning. But the intention of our heart energy is that it acts as though it has never been broken. And that is what I wish for you today. Our hearts break. Our green heart energy that is right here breaks. And on Valentimes, we don't like to think about having our heart broken. But sometimes Valentimes makes us remember what it was like to have a broken heart and what it is like to have a broken heart. We break our own hearts, you know. I was talking to my mom earlier and she mentioned, the world going to hell in a handbasket, which it really feels that way, and it breaks our hearts that the world looks the way that it does. And people aren't allowed to love the people that they love. And we put barriers in the way of other people loving the way that they want to, and of ourselves loving the way that we want to. Because of what? I don't know. We just do. We put barriers in place. And so I think that today our hope can be that we allow our love energy to flow as though we are unbroken. And that's what I hope for me. And that's what I hope for you, is that our heart acts as though it is unbroken and loves wholly and fully and truly today, whoever or whatever that means. If that's your pets, your fur babies, if that's your family, if that's yourself, if that's your significant person, I hope for you today a full-on heart flow of green in your life. And I think that it is beneficial to focus on that heart energy. And just even in the past couple of weeks, I did a heart chakra meditation, and that is where you just sit in a comfortable seated position, and you kind of, you don't have to sit up super straight and tall, and you don't have to, you don't have to breathe a certain way or anything like that. You can put your hands on your knees if you want. You don't have to have them in a specific finger position, but you can have them up or down. And you sit and concentrate on just right here. And you concentrate on the color green. And maybe you see like a green sphere here, and you just imagine it growing until it grows so much that it grows outside of you. Like the green light shines so bright that it can't help but touch other people. Your green chakra is what connects you to your human experience. It connects most literally your physical body to your intellect, right? And there are chakras that correspond to like your lower body being your physical body and your upper body, that those top three chakras being your intellect, and much more beyond that. But it connects those two things together. It is the channel that allows those two things to flow together. And I think that sometimes we shut down our heart energy because we feel like life is easier to live that way. Because it feels that way for a minute. When we shut down our heart flow, we feel really productive. Because your heart doesn't slow you down, right? You don't feel the things that you're meant to feel in the human experience because you have shut off your connection to your surroundings and to your physical body. And you really can push yourself really hard. And it sounds really good. Like, we love to push ourselves really hard. That actually sounds like, oh, it's like joining CrossFit, right? I can push myself super hard and, push the bounds of where my body, where the bounds of what my body would normally allow me to do and what my mind would normally allow me to do. And so that's what happens when we close off our heart chakra. And sometimes we don't even know that we do it. Most of the times we do it because it's a way to cope with not being able to process our feelings and not being able to process grief. And so it works for a little while. You do feel very productive, but your connection to your human experience is very limited. If your heart energy is blocked off, you may find it hard to show people compassion. Impatience is a common sign of people who block off their heart energy, especially with themselves but also with people in the human condition. Being an Aquarius, it's an easy thing for me, or having my moon in Aquarius is a very natural thing for me to make everything very logical when I think about it. And to try to explain things away using logic, including psychology. When someone does something, it's very easy for me to say, oh, well, they just do that because this is what the textbook says about that. And then I can use that and I can sleep at night. That because it makes sense, right? Science says that this has happened before. And we need science and we need logic, but we also need to be connected. And I choose at this point in my life to open up my heart and be connected to the things that break my heart, and to live as though my heart is Anahata. Is that what it was? Is that? I wanna make sure. Anahata. Yes, Anahata. I want to live as though my heart is Anahata, unbeaten, unbroken, because I feel very powerful and in myself and connected when I allow my heart to be in its energetic state. Now, I think you could probably overdo it where your green energy, your heart energy, gets so big that it tips the scales of balance, and you give so much of your energy to your heart that the rest of your chakras suffer because your energy pools in this area. And I think I've also been in that place too. So it's definitely all about balance. And I think when it comes to your chakras, it's a really interesting thing to read about. The fountain of energy that is made through us every moment. And so, vulnerability isn't easy, and it's not easy to live with your heart open. When I was reading today, and this is a very interesting thing as well, if you are into yoga, there are actually yoga poses that you can do to help open and balance all of your chakras. And that's very cool. There's like books about it and stuff. I found out looking up your green heart chakra today so that I could talk about it right now led me to realizing that you can do, and like not just meditations, but actual like classes, yoga classes based on balancing your energies. And I think that's very cool. So thank you guys for that, because that's very cool. So on Valentine's, which is, definitely a day of love, I hope for you an unbeaten heart. And I don't mean beating, I hope for you all of the beats of your heart, but an unstruck heart. That's what I hope for you today, that you can live the rest of today and hopefully the rest of your life, hopefully the rest of our lives, that we can live our lives with a heart that is unbeaten and unbroken, even though it breaks every day or multiple times a day, even though we feel the shock of pain that our heart isn't suffered by it, but that we do something with that energy and actually allow the green to flow through us from time to time, or daily, and use our love and the energy that flows from our hearts to make a difference and to love ourselves and to show up in the world. So if you want to connect to your green today, 3 to 5 minute meditation, I would call it. But if you don't want to call it that, I would say a 3 to 5 minute, relaxing concentration on your green light, and to see what that looks like. One of the things that I do that I actually love, so green is the color of nature, right? And if you've ever been fortunate enough to see a rainforest or a beautiful forest when it is oh so leafy and green and moist and fertile, those are things that green is too. Green is fertility. Green is money. Green is wealth. Like the lush emerald green is very feng, right? It's very feng shui. In the wealth area of your house, having a lush green is like the perfect color for that part. Also royal purples, but that's something else. Green is the color of life. And so I have in the past, in meditation, if you don't want to focus on light because you think that that's too like ethereal and maybe that doesn't connect you to your surroundings so much, sometimes I will use my imagination to grow a rainforest in my chest cavity. I know that's crazy, but it's like if you close down your eyes and you focus on your chest and then you just, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Moana or like Fern Gully, where like Fern Gully, like the fairy at the very end, Hexus has just ruined like the things, but she comes out and she's got like the seed and she closes her hands around the seed and she builds the trees. Well, anyway, so she walks around with her like hand and she makes life spring out of her fingers, and just everything that she touches and everything that she puts her hand across just completely turns lush and green and floral and beautiful, and she regrows the rainforest. The same thing with Moana, this island that like a demon, I think it's like a demon goddess, but she used to be like the earth mother, basically. She is given back her heart. Seriously, guys, this is real. She's given back her heart that contains her goddess soul, and she turns back into the Earth Mother, and she goes and creates Hawaii and the islands, and like she makes everything green and lush and gorgeous and floral. And so if you've ever seen either of those movies, or you've seen a rainforest and felt the life that comes from that sort of lush green, or even if you've never seen it and you just want to imagine it, if you imagine your heart and your heart center inside of your body, and then you imagine it growing a lush green and creating an oasis inside of your own body, it is the coolest, guys. Like, I have built up a rainforest inside of my chest. Not literally, but whenever I want, I can create life within my own body in that way. And what that does for me is focuses me in on the energy that is so gorgeous in that place, in my striving for balance. And so I hope for you today that you can connect to your green. If it's not something that's that like imaginative and almost like, I don't know if you would even call it spiritual. I think if you don't want to do anything that seems that mentally creative, if you don't want to do that, then don't do that. If you want to, even just envisioning your heart pumping life through your body for a couple of seconds, that's the same thing, because your heart is the source of like pumping your body with blood, which is oxygen, which comes from trees and is green. We're always coming back to the green. But also, if you want to connect to your green, right? You can practice gratitude for all of the ways that your life has wealth and depth and love and lushness, fertility in that way. You can go outside and hug a tree, or not. Okay, we're getting a little bit like tree huggerish, right? But you get my drift. Enjoy nature because that connects you to your heart. Also, connecting with other people in meaningful ways that are where you have released yourself and knocked down the barriers to allowing yourself to love. And both of these things happen at the same time. As you realize that your heart center, your green center, where you prayer in yoga, when you go to prayer, it's right there. As you open up your heart chakra and allow yourself to become aware of that energy, barriers break. They do. It does take work in a psychological sense, but in a spiritual sense, you don't have to work, because love and fear do not exist in the same place. Why do we put up barriers in our hearts? Because we've been hurt before, because we feel the brokenness and we fear it happening again. So we build barriers. When you allow the energy to be what it is in your center, which is just pure love and soul and heart, when that in that place, fear can't exist there, and the barriers just come down. So, that is your heart chakra. And we'll talk about other chakras, and maybe even talk just a little bit more about chakras generally. But I do hope for you today on this Valentine's that you take a moment and realize that all of the life that you see around you, every tree and leaf and blade of grass, and every being around you sprang from the energy that you have in your own heart chakra. This energy that's right here, everything came from here. Everything. All of the lushness that is in the world came from you right here. And so we get to focus on that, and I love that about Valentine's Day. So, happy Valentine's. I honor the light in you and in your heart and everywhere else. Namaste. And also, I'll see you next time.